Got it.
And yep, there we go.
Awesome.
Now this is where we have witty banter while I wait for YouTube to actually make sure that
Oh,
we're
okay.
coming up. So it's
So we're coming up.
amazing.
Yeah,
We're just
I
going
know.
live. It's so
We're just
fun.
chatting. I know. I'm so excited for this. I
Organic
like,
conversation. All right, we're up.
yeah.
I just have to mute us so that way I
I
don't have to
love
hear
it.
myself.
Cool.
All right, and we're just going to kick off. So, you're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna Louise Veronica Ciccone. I'm your celebration tour correspondent, Stefan. It's been a week since we've done these. I feel like I'm out of practice. Today on the show, we have Jordan, who attended Madonna's first North America show of the celebration tour at Barclays in Brooklyn. Welcome to the show, Jordan.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and have Madonna therapy. I need somewhere to process after last night.
Yes, that's we're here to help guide you through your emotions. And well,
There's a
so
lot of them.
good, good. So first question, how tired are you today?
I'm ragged. I'm
You look amazing. Like
Thank
I
you.
was like, is this from you didn't even go to sleep. You just
I
like from the tour, you just
yes,
like
I woke up like this. Yeah. I was going for like a don't tell me kind of vibe last night. So
I,
this was my garb for last night. Yeah.
oh, is that what you wore?
It was. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's so.
I
I was
put
gonna
it
say
back. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
love the tassels and the fringe on your sleeve.
Oh yeah,
For those
yeah.
people not watching, she's wearing a sort of like a yeah, it is very. It's like a fringe hanging from her arms, and there's some studs on her top.
Hmm.
It's very yeah. We'll post a picture of it later so that way people can see. But you look
Yeah.
amazing
Thank
considering that
you.
you had only a scant few hours of sleep last night, thanks to Madonna.
Yeah.
Well, so um, let's talk about that because I think that was the big story of today. So last night, Madonna didn't go on until about what, 10:45, 10:50 at night?
Yeah, 10:50. Yeah, yeah. It was
And
late.
Honey Dijon was her opening DJ.
Fantastic. Like great energy. Definitely got like everybody where they needed to be for sure. That was awesome. So
And
that helped.
it was how long after Honey Dijon was over did Madonna come out? Was it about an hour?
About an hour, yeah. So I think, some people were starting to like get a little stir crazy. The crowd was like doing the wave to keep themselves entertained. But I didn't mind. I was kind of like my adrenaline had me so wired. I was just like getting kind of anxious, but I wasn't, you know,
So had you seen
didn't
Madonna
slow me down.
before? Had you seen Madonna before in concert?
I did, yeah. The first time I saw her was in 2012 on the MDNA tour. So it's been
Okay.
a while. But I've been a fan since I was a kid. Like my mom was a Madonna fan and always had like the True Blue tape in the car. So she's been a
Mhm.
part of my life in different instances, but that was the MDNA tour was the first time I was like an adult with real money and could go see her. So,
Yeah, because
you
ticket
know,
prices are expensive these days.
yes.
You kind of have
Hmm.
to commit. And I know, like, I always wondered as I was going to Madonna shows in the past, where I'm like, I wonder, like, are fair weather people just coming to see these shows and spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars? Because it's just not,
I know.
it's expensive. You have to really want to go, you know?
Totally, totally. Yeah. And I definitely I've been joking that I feel like I'm getting priced out of my favorite hobby because concert tickets have just gotten like they were always expensive for big artists like Madonna, but lately it's insane. And the
Yeah, it's
prices
crazy.
on secondhand websites are so nuts. But after her near death experience, I was like, I don't care what it costs. We're going, like, we're not missing this. When oh my God, I just, that scared me into financial submission. So,
Yeah, I agreed. And
yeah.
what was the crowd's reception? So, of course, this is, Brooklyn, it's New York, it's Madonna's home.
Hmm.
Was the crowd just pumped when she came out?
It was amazing. I mean, first of all, the crowd was like, everybody there was perfectly dressed. I mean, the outfits were, I didn't mind sitting there waiting for her because you could people watch for the entire hour because
Right, right.
everyone was just like, and it's New York. Like people go dressed to the nines in New York anyways. So like
Sure.
New York at a Madonna concert, people like the outfits were amazing. The energy was really amazing. Yeah, I think because it was her hometown show. And again, I think a lot of people have the same feeling I did, where it's like, oh my God, we almost lost her. Like
Hmm.
this like celebratory, like enthusiasm that like she's here, she's healthy again and is like back home. And yeah, I think since a lot of us have been watching the tour overseas on TikTok and online,
Yeah.
it was like to be in North America for the first time too, where everybody's like had this all this anticipation and build up was really exciting.
So a fun story, the way I came to find Jordan, you started a small business with a former
Hmm.
boss of mine, Blakely. Uh,
Yes.
Blakely and I worked together at an advertising agency, and I had asked Blakely if she wanted to come on, and she said no, but I have a really good idea of who you could bring on, and that's how I found you. I gotta say, you were striking some fierce poses last night at Barclays Center. I saw those pictures.
I was living. It was so, I mean, like the people who were, like I said, the energy was great around us, but there were some people who were sort of like sitting, and I cannot imagine the ability to sit still listening to her music. Like
Right.
I can't even be in the car or on a walk listening to Madonna and not be, like getting it going. So yeah, we were, and my best friend Blakely, your old boss, we take any occasion to get dressed up very seriously. So we have a separate Slack channel at our company called Madonna where we like talk about her, and we're sharing outfits and planning for this event. So it
That's
was
so
like a lot
fun.
of
I
like
need to
build
get
up.
on that Slack channel. I love a girl.
Yeah.
I
I
don't have
know,
a
we need to
Madonna
loop you
Slack channel
in.
in my life. I need to get on that. Well, and what's so funny
Yeah.
is when I worked with Blakely, Madonna was touring last. Like that was when I was working. She was touring for her Madam
Oh.
X tour,
Oh,
and
okay.
I think occasionally I would tell Blakely, I'm like, FYI, I'm going to be coming in a little late tomorrow because I'm seeing Madonna and it's a weekday and it's going to be a little late. So,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, that's an excused absence in our company for sure. Yeah.
yeah,
We called it our holiday party. It was our,
I
our,
saw
our retreat. Yeah.
that's a great holiday party idea. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone should go to a Madonna show for a holiday party, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you had spoiled yourself a little bit on the set list and the
I couldn't
videos.
help it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's been months. I mean, how could it?
Exactly. And I was just so anxious to see how she was because, like I have been trying to, as artists are getting older and some of the people that I like are, and especially as some people have, I'm a huge Fleetwood Mac fan. And when Christine McVie died, I was like,
Right.
I have to go see Stevie. Like I feel this like
Right.
urgency. And you are sort of curious, how these people like, and so I saw Stevie Nicks and I was so amazed at how, great she sounds and how well these women are aging. And so I was just kind of genuinely curious because I was worried for her because it sounded like, she was really pushing herself hard for this training. And it's like, I want her to be healthy and be herself, but I'm also like, I don't want her to push herself too much. And
Right.
like, I couldn't dance like that. And I'm in my mid 30s. Like, it's like, it's crazy. So I was just curious. And then, of course, the TikTok algorithm pulled me in.
Yep.
And so I was like, watching them. And then I was, it went from we're buying tickets to, oh my God, we need to get the best seats possible. Like as I was seeing how amazing it was and what the set list was. And there were certain things like we can get there, but the live to tell sequence,
Hmm.
I was glad that I had a heads up
Yeah.
because if I had gone into that blindly, I mean, it would have been a little too heavy for me. I mean, it was like I needed to like emotionally prepare
Hmm.
for that part of it. Like I
Yeah,
needed
I
to.
felt bad. My friend who I saw it with in Paris, she did not know anything about the show. And
Mm-hmm.
at the end of Holiday, when they start to transition into Live to Tell, she had already started crying. And by the end of Live to Tell, she was bawling. And I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, should I have told her about this?
I know, I know. Well, the first time I had heard about the live to tell part was I had read an article that the AIDS Memorial had shared about it.
Right.
And my uncle, who I was very close with, passed away of AIDS. And he's on the AIDS Memorial. Like I have his photo up
Oh,
there and submitted
wow.
his story. And so I'm reading the article and they're talking about it. And I'm like, for a whole paragraph, I'm like, is Jimbo gonna be in the show? And then it's like,
Oh,
all families have been contacted to get clearance for the image. And I was like,
that makes
damn.
sense. That
I
makes
was like,
sense.
okay, he's
Right.
not
You
it.
were almost
But I
like
was,
hoping that he was
he
just
can
to,
be. Yeah. I was like, you don't need to sign a release. You can have him. Like, I would have
right.
loved that. But it was like, I was glad that I had sort of a moment to prepare for that because even so, knowing that it was coming, it was very abrupt
Hmm.
in the show. And, of course, like, I'm sure I know you've talked about like the cadence of the show with the decades and how she's been planning it out. But it, because it was this like the super joyful, fun bubblegum Madonna from the 80s, and then it just goes straight into that. It's so abrupt and it's so jarring. But then, like, the more that I was thinking about it last night, I was like, but that's a perfect way to describe that, because I imagine, I wasn't around for this when it first broke out in the 80s, but like that must have been how jarring it felt for that community where we
Right.
all were having fun, dancing, whatever. And then this incredibly tragic, pandemic
Yeah.
comes out. And it's like, it felt like a nice tribute to that, and to
Hmm.
show how harsh of a transition that was for people where,
Yeah.
within a year, all these people you just met are dead.
Yeah.
Like, and how jarring that was, and how quickly people died of AIDS, and how fast the disease would progress. So, but then she has to go act of contrition. Like, my uncle was one of 10 kids. Like, I'm Catholic. So I'm like, AIDS, Catholicism, like, this is a lot to unpack here.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was really a
I
lot.
know.
Yeah.
It's a shame that, stupid Page Six chooses to pick on like, oh, she went on late. I'm like, how about we talk about the wonderful tribute she does during Live to Tell? Like, how about we
Yeah.
talk about the wonderful ally that she is for the LGBTQ plus community? Like, none of that. Like, that's not the
No.
lead story from her
Mm-hmm.
last night. It's she went on a little late. And I'm like, can we please
Yeah.
focus on the message here? But that's how
Yeah.
they always do that to her. They just want to
Yeah.
drag her name through the mud and find a reason to trash talk her. And God bless her for standing up and doing what she does night after night. Oh, I was gonna say, so you were saying how you were flagging, like you're tired from last night.
Mm-hmm.
Madonna's getting ready to do the show again tonight. Like, would you be able to
Oh, yeah.
go go do a show again right now?
I know. I thought about it too. I was like, of course, last night I'm laying in bed. I'm like on StubHub, like, what's this section look like? And then I
Well,
woke up this morning and I was like, I can't believe I even considered it.
we could finish this podcast and you could still make it.
I'm dressed. I'm ready.
I know you're ready to go. I mean, hey, if I lived,
I
well,
live in
you said
Brooklyn. It's
you
very
you said you
quick.
live like
Yeah.
15 minutes away from Barclays. I'm like,
Hmm.
you will make it there in plenty of time. You could,
Yeah.
if I was your neighbor, I'd be like, let's go, Jordan. Come on,
You know what? Let's just do it. Yeah. I'm almost done with my Diet Coke. Maybe I'll be ready to go after that.
You'll catch a second wind and
Yeah, yeah, but of course you're right. It's like so typical of the type of like press and everything. They're always like going to nitpick her to death about different things. And we were talking about like her being an incredible ally. That was another really like amazing thing for me to see last night, and that I just thought about, because I think we take for granted queer joy, and
hmm
how that is so a part of popular culture now. It's so acceptable. There's a million gay bars. There's Renaissance Tour, AAS Tour. There's all these spaces where queer people can be and be free and dress however they want. And when you think about when she started, that was not the case. Like, she
right.
was one of the few people giving them the space. And it made me really emotional before the concert even started to see all these gay men in, leather thongs and, straps and pink fur and glitter, and just like living it up without any fear of like judgment or anything. And I'm like, look at what a beautiful community she created. Like, this
Yeah.
is so amazing. Like, we owe her so much. So if she wants to come on late, if she wants it to be a certain temperature, if she wants everybody to do a certain thing, the answer is yes, ma'am. Like, whatever you want, like
Yeah.
she can do no wrong in my book.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, she keeps it warm, doesn't she?
it, it was hot. I was like, man, I would have dressed like her. Of course she's in like her, small little bustier, and I'm wearing this, which was, a thin shirt, but I'm
Sleeves.
like, I would have brought other sleeves and boots. I'm like putting my hair up in a hair tie. Like, it was hot. It was definitely hot in
Well, and
there. But
you weren't on the floor, so the heat rises. So it was probably getting
mhm.
God bless those people on the second level.
Oh,
They must have been sweating.
boiling. Yeah, yeah. We were in the lower bowl, section 26, so sort of like to the left of the main stage, and row like 10 or 11. So it was actually like kind of a good like eye level It was the closest I've ever been to her. So to like see the, like lines on her thigh muscles, I'm just like, oh my God, she's a real person. Like it's
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
like, because to me, she's like this just fantastical, magical, like ethereal being that
Right,
exists
right,
in a
right.
different planet.
Right. It's
So
somebody that you've seen on TV and on videos and movies, and but it's
yeah.
like she almost doesn't feel touchable or tangible in a way, you know?
Hmm.
So
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
what were some of your highlights from the show? Like, what were some of your favorite numbers?
Um, Huge highlight was, so my favorite, I have like favorites from each era, of course. Which is again, like I just blanket statement I loved getting to see, because when I saw her on the MDNA tour, it was obviously very heavy for that
Yep.
album. And she was playing a lot of like more recent, which Confessions, which, is, I could hear that all the way through and not complain at a concert. But, it was a lot of, to be able to hear, it was mostly just like medleys of some of the older songs when I saw her then. So to see full songs of so many different eras of her life was just like incredible to sort of take it
Hmm.
all in. Um, and then, but my favorite from the 80s is Burning Up. Like that is just, my favorite, like it was like my first favorite Madonna song. And for the New York show, she medleyed it with I Love New York. I lost it. I mean, we were kind of joking about it. Blakely and I were like, I hope she plays that. And I'm like, I don't know, the set list, like it's such a production. I don't know how much variable she can do because, it's so well planned out. And I guess since they're both guitar numbers, it was kind of an easy thing
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
blend in together. But the crowd went absolutely insane for that. And to hear Madonna play I Love New York, like in Brooklyn, like, oh, it was huge. It was just like, and that was, in the first act. So it just really
Right,
like set the
right.
tone for the whole thing. Again, the Live to Tell tribute was really beautiful. And also sometimes it's hard I almost want to go see it again just because it was hard to know where to look at sometimes, because there's the production is just so incredible. It's equally theater as it
Oh,
is concert.
sure.
And it's like hard to see. And all of the dancers were amazing. I mean, they were so the costumes and the voguing competition with her daughter was so sweet, and to like
Yeah.
see that. And I love Bob the drag queen, so that was such a fun, thing to be like sprinkled
Yep.
throughout. And, they were a perfect host. Um, so that was like, just having all of that. And, but what was so incredible about her is even with these dancers, they were in these extravagant costumes and they're dancing in like diagonals, like acrobatic. And she's standing in the middle of all of them. And even with all of that going on, there's still no denying who's at the center. Like the fact that she
Hmm.
can hold the center at 5'3", like she's like, my height, and this small woman in the midst of this. And it's still just this, it's like, oh my God, this is why she's a star, this
Hmm.
is why she is Madonna, so that was really cool. And, just to like be with a friend who Madonna has been a part of our life and our friendship for so long. Anytime we're in the car, that's what we listen to. And we were at our other best friend's wedding, getting, pumped up for the wedding, getting ready. I'm, playing Future Lovers for everybody while we're like, it's like just been like the soundtrack to our friendship a lot. So it was that part of it too. And her husband getting to see someone see Madonna for the first time
Right.
is so fun,
Blakely's husband had never seen him. He had never
No,
seen Madonna before.
no, that was the first time. Yeah.
And what a great
So,
show to see her.
right.
I mean, if you're gonna see her, that's why I keep telling everybody, I'm like, if you've never seen a Madonna show, you have to go see the show. Like,
This is
it's
it.
now or
Yeah, this
never,
is one.
people. Like, if
Mm-hmm.
there's one thing, like you said, if there's one thing this past summer taught us, it's like buy that, buy the dress, take the trip, eat the cake, go see
Mm-hmm.
Madonna, like
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
Like life
totally.
is
Worth
short. We
every
don't.
penny. Absolutely. And then it was also really cool seeing this Eras tour. Like I'm a huge just pop music fan in general. And having seen like these last two, I didn't see the Eras tour or Renaissance. Huge regrets about seeing Renaissance. I'm not really a Swiftie, but appreciate them both so much as these incredibly talented pop stars. And what they did this summer and all the headlines that were like oh, $1 billion, the billions of dollars into the economy that Beyonce and Taylor Swift put in. And, I've also, same thing, followed those along on TikTok. Like, I feel like I saw both tours just
Right, right,
because
right.
it was like so online all the time. But to see Madonna do what she does, you're like, oh, here's the blueprint. Like, this
Yeah.
is where all that came from, like Taylor Swift, Eras Tour. This is an Eras Tour. Like, this is,
Yeah.
like, just to see, like, her at this point and to be able to see, the long tail of her influence is just incredible. Like, it was so evident with that, and the tributes that they did in between. I mean, that Beyonce, they have video of her in one of the transitions being like,
Right.
this is who I got it. This is who taught me everything and what building an empire looked like. And, in the new Renaissance movie where they're trying to tell Beyonce, like, no, we don't have this lighting rig. And she's like, no, this is what I want.
Right,
And
right.
I was listening to Britney's audiobook, and she talks about how being on set with Madonna was the first time she realized she was allowed to ask for what she wanted. And
Uh-huh.
because she saw Madonna be like, no, you don't have to do this. Like, if you don't want to stay, you don't have to stay. And she was like, what? I didn't know I had a choice.
Right, right, right.
And just the influence she's had on all these women, like, we can just finally see that full scope. And it's like, oh God, I'm giving myself chills. It's like, it's just so cool and amazing. And yeah,
And
I love
I
it.
hope that it's true. I've heard rumblings that they are filming a documentary for around the celebration tour, and I really hope that that's true because I think no other time than now do we need a revisit of like who Madonna is and a little peek behind the curtain to her private life. And
Hmm.
I just think it would be so fascinating to sort of Truth or Dare was, 30 some years ago. And to be able to like catch up to her now and see what it's like for Madonna to go on tour now would just be really
Hmm.
fascinating. So I hope so.
Totally. Yeah, and it seems like a good narrative to have, surviving what she survived this
Oh, totally.
summer and that being part of it. I think that there was a lot of cameras. Like, I know that that's usual typical at a concert, especially for filming, like the stuff that they project on the screen, but it seemed like an excessive amount of cameras.
Yeah. No,
And
last night I think they were filming. I don't know if it was for a tour film but
mm,
there were more cameras last night than there was when I was in Paris, they had those like the robot cameras that were moving on their own, but
mhm.
they did not have the cameras that they had last night at in Paris. So
Yeah, they
that was
had people like
definitely
in front of her.
yeah.
Like, that
Well,
was,
no,
yeah, and
that they had.
they had
The
that.
people
Okay.
on
Yeah,
stage,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
normal. But there was like I think there was like big crane cameras and there was
Yeah,
more than they
there
normally did,
were, and like some drones.
which hopefully means
So,
maybe like with Taylor Swift and Beyonce, maybe Madonna will have this tour film out before
oh,
the tour ends. Like
oh my God,
because
that would be so cool.
as Madonna fans know, usually we have to wait a little long for the tour film to come
Hmm.
out. I think with Madam X we had to wait about 2 years. So
Hmm.
hopefully, like maybe the momentum of the show, it'll be like the last show in Mexico, and here's your tour film, and go see it in the theaters.
Hmm.
Like that would be
That would be
amazing.
so cool. Yeah, I would love that, especially since it seems like we're also going to have to wait for a biopic. I think that's not happening anytime soon. Last time I
I venture
listened.
to say
So,
that's probably the next project she's going to work on. I
mhm.
assume after this tour is over, that's her next
That's the
project.
next thing. Yeah. But this was almost like a biopic tour in a
Yeah.
way, because, like, in between each section, there was like, I loved the video content that they had as like transitions, like, to, show old film strips and things like that. And, one thing too, like, that I thought was really interesting that I was thinking about, we are talking about, like, people nitpicking her. There was kind of an interesting shift of energy in the room when there was the transition with Billie Jean, and they
Uh-huh.
were showing pictures of her and Michael Jackson, which is like so hard to think of one and not the other because they came up at the same time. And,
Yeah.
the princess, the queen of pop, the, prince, king of pop. And but I was thinking about it because you could tell some people were kind of like, like, have complicated opinions about him. But I was like, what's so amazing about her is like it is really sad that someone like him, who was so incredible and so talented, kind of has like a complicated legacy.
Yeah.
And but Madonna, even though she's had controversy, to be as public as you've been for 40 years, and most people say she's a delight, she's amazing to work with, she's, all of these things, and the constant innovation, it's like kind of amazing and I think her legacy now in retrospect is very forgiving, where people are like, why did we give this lady such a hard time back then? Because
Right.
the things she was doing that were, controversial or groundbreaking is like completely normal now. It's like
Right.
we don't blink when Lady Gaga does one certain things, or dresses a certain way, or says a certain thing, or when people sing about sex. It's like, yeah, okay, that's everybody. All pop stars sing about sex now, but
Yeah.
it was like, I think it's just amazing how her legacy is so intact and positive, and is, unscathed by any major controversy. Like, she didn't blow all her money on drugs or stupid things. Like, she, it was just, I don't know, it's just so positive.
Yeah.
And I think this would be like a perfect celebration to do a video of that, and to like, take all that into consideration, because it's a beautiful career that is, you know, unblemished by anything. And it's just like, on the whole, something really beautiful and wonderful. And
Yeah, and I
so it's
think
just,
I think it's a
yeah,
great the tour film, or the tour itself, is a great segue to then lead us to her biopic if she's
a
choosing
hundred
to.
percent.
It's almost
Mm-hmm.
as if like, okay, here's the musical version of that, and then here's the film version of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, because she does talk about it too. She's like, when I came to New York, I only had
right.
$35. Her backstory is fascinating. Like, Blakely and I watched a VH1 documentary on the couch, and we were eating our bagels this morning, of like,
Uh-huh.
from, like 1999 or something. And she was like going around all her old New York haunts and talking about it.
Uh-huh.
She lived in squalor in this one building for 5 years before ever getting famous, and like filth, with eating, how she had like $1 a day with like the peanuts and the cranberry juice that she would eat. And I'm like, I would have given up. I would have
Yeah.
not lasted 5 years hustling. And it's just such a remarkable commitment to hard work. And
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, her work ethic is just, it's insane. It
Totally.
makes me feel lazy. I'm
Yeah, no,
like, I don't have time for this.
she had a drive. I think she still does. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
think about that. She's 65. Most people when they're 65, they're focusing on what they're going to do for retirement. And
Yeah.
Madonna, I mean, she's, 2 years away from the official retirement age, and
Mm-hmm.
she's dancing on stage. She doesn't have to do that. She's
No.
got more money than we will ever know what to do with. And I mean, she could sell a painting and live off of that for the rest of her
Mm-hmm.
life if her music stopped making her money, but it's like,
Yeah.
no, instead she's getting ready to entertain another crowd tonight at Barclays. It's just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
crazy to think about that. That's why when people are like, it's disrespectful that she came out late, well, I'm like, guys, you don't have to go to the
No.
show,
And I can't
and
imagine the vocal warm up and the physical. I'm like, what kind of stretches is she doing? I need to know, like, like I can't imagine the prep that your body has to go through to be able to do that. And,
yeah,
she just seemed like so happy too, like happy to be home, and happy to be like there on stage with her kids. Like,
yeah.
I loved that about the Renaissance tour, that seeing Beyonce incorporate Blue Ivy into the show, and seeing Madonna incorporate her kids into the show was really beautiful. The mother and father moment, with her
Hmm.
son and his, it was just like, it was so, she just seemed happy. She seemed like happy to be there, just when she did the I Will Survive acoustic cover, it was just like, she seemed truly joyed, and not like, I'm phoning it in for the paycheck.
Right,
Like,
right, right.
it was not that, which some artists, some older artists, that's kind of the vibe I get, where I'm like, oh, they've got expensive mortgages and ex-wives to pay for. So they're,
Right. I mean,
like,
right. Obviously, Madonna's got bills, I mean, she's an empire, like,
yeah,
her life is not
yeah.
cheap, but at the same time, she
Mm-mm.
doesn't have to do a tour. But like, I love
Yeah.
that. I'm forever grateful that she is still doing as much as she is, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this tour could be the last thing she ever did. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we could all be like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
That was a great 40-year run. Thank you, Madonna. I mean,
Yeah, that's more.
I hope
Yeah.
that this is not the end, and I hope that
Yeah.
she keeps going for as long as she creatively wants to. And I think
Hmm.
that she will, because I don't think
Hmm.
obviously her creative fire, her light has not extinguished in any way. So,
Hmm.
um, and thank God. I mean, because that tour is beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
But some of
it's
the moments
beautiful.
are just so epically gorgeous to watch,
Mm.
and I'm like, thank you for giving us these visuals.
Oh, the visuals and the lasers. I mean, like the laser light
So
show, it was
good. It's
so
so
good. Like
good.
it was such the production is like
Die Another
it
Day
should
is
it's like
one
an EGOT.
Die Another Day is one of my favorite moments because of how crazy the lights are. And then into Ray of
Yeah.
Light, where the Ray of Light has the lasers
Oh,
too. I mean,
and when
it's
she's in the up in the thing, I mean, and speaking of her creativity, I think because of her creativity, she's been able to adapt to the physical limitations that she has right now. Like, I thought it was interesting how her and Beyonce both had, knee injuries and like, how physically
yeah.
demanding this job is on them, on their bodies. And the ways that you could tell she wasn't moving like she used to, but how she sort of has like the dancers supporting her in ways, and then the acrobatics, like in the flying thing. I don't know what you would call that, but
We
it's like
call it
she came up with
the
really
portal.
the portal. Okay, yeah, she's just really come up with really creative ways to be like, okay, if I can't do this, I can do this in a really cool way,
Yeah.
like, and that's awesome. Like, I think that's a really cool way to like adapt and not be like, well, if I can't do it like I used to, then I don't want to do it, or
Right, right, right.
trying to push herself to do it like she used to. And then, there's a lot of art musicians who just push themselves too hard and can't sing or perform like they can, like
Yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne's like the classic example, just like ran down too hard, and he's been canceling his tour for like 5 years
I
now because he just
know, I
can't
know.
physically do it.
And I think that's what people were afraid was going to happen. We saw how many dates there were scheduled, and it's like, I hope she's okay physically. And
Hmm.
I think it's smart. The
Hmm.
choreography is really smart.
Hmm.
They know what they're doing, and they know,
Hmm.
like her voice sounds strong. Her movement is great, and I'm just so happy that she's doing it.
Yeah, her voice was amazing. The only stuff that was auto-tuned are songs that are already auto-tuned, like
Right,
things
right.
that it was like the natural, that's just like what the song was. She sounded amazing, was like hitting high notes. I mean, if you had played a live track from that night and a live track from 10 years ago, I don't think I would have been able to tell you the difference, honestly. Like it was,
Uh-huh.
she really kept it going in a way that was, I think, impressive and shows how disciplined she is to her craft. Like that's what I'm saying
Yeah.
earlier. Like I can't imagine what her warm up is and the way that she does take care of her voice and protects her body and protects her instrument. And it
Yeah.
just shows how like seriously she takes it.
I
It's
know.
not
I
just
always want
like,
to know, like, I mean, we've seen snippets of it in, I'm going to tell you a secret, her second documentary.
mm-hmm,
We've sort of seen it. We saw a little bit more about what she does around the tour, but I'm always fascinated. Like, I just would love for a camera. Like, seriously, the movie could just be following Madonna from like the moment the show ends until the moment the next show starts on the following day. Like, I just want to see, what does she do? Like,
yeah,
what
like a
is she?
cold plunge or
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. Like, is she sleeping in? What does she have for breakfast? What, like, when does she
mm-hmm,
eat? When does she, like, when does she start getting
what does she
ready?
eat?
Yeah, yeah. Like, just I'm so fascinated about, like, and I guess that's sort of that's the beauty of her art, is by her denying us a look into the real Madonna. It allows us to have this beautiful moment of when she's swooping around in that billow of smoke to
Mm-hmm,
nothing really matters. And it's like, she's a goddess
mm-hmm.
on stage in front of us, because we don't know what she had for lunch. And
Yeah,
we don't know how much sleep she had last night. And
yeah.
I think that's what sort of suspends our disbelief and allows us to not worship her, but, like, look up and say, this is an amazing individual.
That is like, yeah, absolutely. That's what kind of keeps her in the clouds from us, you know.
Yeah.
But although I was joking with Blakely, we were listening to, I love American Life because that was like when I was in high school. That was sort of my first Madonna album for me. That wasn't like one I was hearing from my mom, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I like I'm very into yoga and Pilates. And so when we were listening to American Life, I'm like, I was taking notes, you know, like when Madonna said she does yoga and Pilates, I'm gonna do yoga and Pilates. Like that's what I want to know because I want to know for myself. I'm like, okay, what else? Like, you know, like I'll let me follow the Madonna like exercise and diet because if I can be doing what she's doing at 65, let alone there's like that viral TikTok of the jump squats challenge. Have you seen this?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like
Can you do
I could
that
do
right
like
now?
I could no like I could do like two and I'm like
Yeah.
sore the next I need an Epsom salt bath, you know, like it's just amazing. Like
Yeah.
it's so superhuman and I I love to see the new generation, but it's like it's just so amazing to see, you know, like I said, someone who's just created like a lifetime of this dedication and
Hmm.
this, you know, commitment and discipline because that's how we have 40 years and, you know, it was amazing. It's just
Yeah.
oh,
Agreed.
I'm still processing. Just,
Well,
that's
I
why we
know
were like
that
watching documentaries this morning. I'm like, I need more.
give it to me. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Jordan, before I let you go, it's time for a little segment we like to call the lightning round. These answers are just meant to be
Oh,
quick, off the top of your head, wherever you're at in your Madonna journey right now. Don't think too
mhm.
hard. Favorite Madonna
Okay.
song?
Hung up.
Favorite Madonna album?
American Life.
Favorite Madonna music video?
Ray of Light.
Favorite Madonna tour?
This one.
Oh, nice. Favorite Madonna movie?
Avita.
Nice. And favorite Madonna look, and this can be from a music video, a tour, a photo shoot.
uh, the Ray of Light, the video, I think is the reason I like it is it's my favorite look of hers. I love the soft Madonna. You know, I love
Mm-hmm.
the kind of like that new mom energy that she had at that time. Like that's when I think she was like she really blossomed into her like most beautiful. Like I think
Mm,
motherhood made her like brought out like a glow in
totally.
her that she's had, and I think that's when I look at that. I am a straight woman, but when I look at that, I'm like, oh man, like that is like one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. Like it is just it really gets me. So, but
I hear
yeah, I
you.
think
Hey,
it's
I'm a gay man, and when I look at Madonna, I'm like,
yeah.
oh damn, Madonna.
She transcends gender, sexuality. It's like
Exactly.
there's none of that. But yeah, it's okay. It's interesting now thinking about my lightning rounds. It's so funny how it's like the, you know, where I love talking to other Madonna fans and like hearing because it's always like at what point she sort of like intersects into your life that you like
Yeah.
pick up on certain things, you
Yeah,
know?
it's
So
true. It's true. Well, Jordan, thanks
yeah,
for joining us today. Tell everyone about your new business venture with Blakely, in case people want to check it
absolutely.
out.
Yes, we started a company called Salad Sprinkles, which are toasted flavored bread crumbles that give you crunch in every bite of your salad. You can put it on your pasta. It's also surprisingly really good on ice cream. We're doing sort of a soft launch right now. We're about to start pre-orders before we do a full launch in the new year. We have three flavors: classic herb, chili crisp, and cornbread, which is gluten-free, all vegan flavors. And yeah, we're hoping to be in retail next year and kind of expand into the market. But you can follow us on Instagram at Eat Salad Sprinkles, and you can order free samples there and find out more and sort of follow along for our official launch. We're very excited, and it's a very beautiful little package, a labor
Oh
of
yes,
love.
she's showing us a bottle of
Yes,
salad sprinkles right
yeah,
now. It kind of looks like weed.
yeah. I'm a graphic.
It kind of looks like ground up weed. Are you sure this is
You're not the
salad
first person.
sprinkles? Jordan,
I
come on now.
actually,
This is a cover operation for something
yeah.
ill. You know it's legal now. You don't have to
I
pretend.
know, I know. There was a lot of that at the Madonna concert last night too.
Oh,
It's
I'm
like it
sure.
was her. It was her first concert in legal weed, New York. So
Oh, I'm
it
sure
was for the first
it
time.
was
So
there before it was legal, and I'm sure now it was
mhm,
all over the place.
it was unleashed. But yeah, no, Blakely and I met in art school. Actually, we're best friends from art school. So we,
Oh,
two
fun.
creative people coming together for this, and it's
So
been
you've
really
had your
fun.
fair share
So
of salad sprinkles with Blakely.
yeah, yes, that's true. Yes, lots of salad sprinkles. Yeah,
That's your code word now, salad sprinkles.
yes,
Hey, should
yes,
we go out back and have some salad sprinkles? That sounds
yeah.
like a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I think the kids these days call it pizza or something.
Oh, is that
But
the
yeah,
code?
no,
Yeah,
salad sprinkles is
salad sprinkles.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, remember, everybody, you can find us on
Oh,
Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at MLVC Podcast. If you'd like to donate to the show, we're on Venmo at MLVC Podcast. If you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, tick that subscribe button so you never miss a video. We're going to be going live with people seeing the Celebration Tour in North America over the next couple of months, so you never want to miss a video. Tick that button. Uh, Jordan, thanks again for taking time out of your
thank
exhaustion from
you.
post
Oh
Madonna,
yeah.
and remember, you can still make it to tonight's show if you, I
I have
mean,
a second wind after this, so don't be surprised if you see me on
yeah,
Instagram later tonight.
yeah. All
But
right.
thank you
Well,
so much, Stefan. This was fun.
it was great. Don't hang up because we're just gonna. I always feel like we need Madonna hold music while I go off the
Yeah.
live stream. Hold on one
Every
second.
little thing that you say, oh,
There
you.
we